Hey there, explorers of the impossible. Welcome back to What If, the place where science meets imagination. Today, we're diving into one of the wildest what ifs yet. What if humans were the size of dinosaurs? But before we stomp into this giant world, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss the next episode, where we'll tackle even crazier questions about the universe, life, and everything in between. All right, picture this. You wake up one morning, stretch your arms, and suddenly realize your hand is the size of a car door. You stand up, and your head almost touches the clouds. Birds scatter as your massive shadow rolls across the land. You're a 40-ton human, towering 25 meters tall, about as big as a T-Rex. The question is, could you survive like this? Well, let's start with biology. The human body wasn't exactly built for that kind of scale. Your bones, even if enlarged proportionally, would struggle to support such immense weight. Gravity would become your biggest enemy. Every step you take would send shock waves through the ground, but also through your own joints. Your heart would need to pump blood across a distance longer than a city bus, requiring enormous pressure, too much for a normal circulatory system to handle. And your lungs? They'd have to be the size of houses just to get enough oxygen into your massive body. So, to make this fantasy even remotely possible, evolution would need to redesign you completely. You'd need thicker bones, denser muscles, slower metabolism, and possibly multiple hearts, like some giant reptiles might have had. Your body temperature would also need to be regulated differently. A creature of that size would overheat fast under the sun. Maybe your skin would evolve to be rougher and reflective, like an elephant's or even reptilian, to prevent overheating. And if everyone on Earth were that big, the world itself would have to change too. Cities wouldn't survive. They'd crumble under our enormous feet. Roads, cars, and buildings would be microscopic in comparison. We'd need megastructures made of reinforced materials, skyscrapers as tall as mountains, and food supplies that could feed creatures the size of small hills. But let's pause there, because next, we'll explore how these colossal humans would actually live on Earth, how society would adapt, and what our planet would look like if it had to sustain such giants. Let's imagine the world now fully adapted to these giant humans, a planet reshaped by size, strength, and sheer mass. The Earth we know would look completely different. Forests would be flattened into open plains, mountains would be carved into shelters, and rivers would turn into narrow streams compared to our massive hands. Even the oceans would look smaller from up high, shimmering like puddles beneath the blazing sun. Cities would no longer be built with glass and steel. Instead, we'd use materials capable of holding our immense weight. Imagine towers as tall as entire mountain ranges, built from reinforced rock and metal thicker than bridges. Transportation would be a challenge. We couldn't use cars or planes. We'd probably walk across continents in days, our footsteps leaving craters behind. Maybe we'd ride enormous bioengineered creatures or move on colossal platforms powered by fusion energy. And food. One meal would require enough calories to feed an entire small town. Giant humans would need to consume hundreds of thousands of calories daily. That means massive farms stretching for miles, genetically modified crops the size of buildings, and livestock that rival our current skyscrapers. Water, too, would be scarce. Each sip could drain an entire lake. The balance of Earth's ecosystem would be at risk, as such massive creatures would dominate every resource. Then there's the issue of communication. Voices that once fit within rooms would now roll like thunder across valleys. We might develop new ways to speak, low-frequency sounds, vibrations, or even telepathic technologies to connect over great distances. Nations, as we know them, might vanish, replaced by smaller tribes scattered across giant territories. Each group separated by oceans they can wade through. But not everything would be chaos. Humanity might adapt. We'd learn to harness our colossal strength to terraform planets, to lift entire mountains, or to build cities floating in the sky. We could become the ultimate builders, shaping worlds with our hands. And maybe, as the Earth struggled under our weight, we'd look to the stars, seeking bigger worlds to call home. Because in this version of reality, Earth might not be enough. Our size would make us unstoppable, but also unsustainable. The real question becomes, could we evolve beyond size itself, or would we destroy the very planet that gave us life? Now, picture this. The Earth can't take it anymore. The crust begins to crack beneath the endless weight of billions of giant humans. Massive earthquakes ripple across continents. Mountains crumble and coastlines shift. Cities sink, oceans overflow, and the once blue planet starts to look like a scarred, red wasteland. Gravity, which once held us steady, now becomes our greatest enemy. Every step sends shockwaves through the planet's fragile core. To survive, humanity must evolve again, not just in body, but in mind. Scientists, now towering like skyscrapers, begin developing technologies to transfer consciousness into new, smaller forms, digital beings, or perhaps hybrid bodies capable of existing on other worlds. The race to escape our collapsing planet becomes a fight for existence. And so, the giant humans look to the stars. The Moon, Mars, even distant exoplanets. They become our new frontier. We build ships the size of mountains, powered by energy harvested from the dying Earth itself. When the first of these massive vessels launch, the sound alone splits the skies open. What's left of our home burns bright beneath us, a reminder of what we've lost and what we've become. Out there in the dark, among the stars, we'd finally understand how small we truly are. Despite our unimaginable size, our greatest strength was never in our muscles, but in our minds. Our ability to adapt, to dream, to reach beyond what seems possible. So maybe, in the end, being as big as dinosaurs wouldn't make us gods. It would remind us that no matter how large we grow, we still depend on the fragile balance of nature, and that the universe doesn't bend to size, but to wisdom. Before we wrap up, let's take one last look at what our world would truly become if humans were the size of dinosaurs. Imagine the Great Wall of China, once stretching proudly across mountains, now just a faint crack beneath your massive feet. Forests that once towered over you are nothing more than soft green carpets, crushed with every careless step. Even the tallest skyscrapers, those symbols of human achievement, would barely reach your knees. Our food system would collapse instantly. A single person would need to eat entire herds of animals each day just to survive, or consume tons of vegetation. Farming would be impossible. One move of your foot could wipe out entire fields. Eventually, humans would turn to artificial nutrition, huge biofactories growing food on an industrial scale, powered by solar and nuclear energy. Communication would change too. You couldn't use your phone. The sound would be too small, the device microscopic in your hands. Instead, We develop telepathic interfaces, neural links capable of transmitting thoughts directly between our minds. Our voices, amplified to thunderous levels, could shake the air for miles. So speaking
What would you
softly
do
would
if you
become
woke
an
up the
act
size of a
compassion.
dinosaur?
And what about relationships? A hug would be as dangerous as a storm. A single tear could drown a village. Love would have to evolve. We'd express it in gestures of precision and restraint, in shared thoughts, not touch. Our emotions, once small and personal, would become forces of nature themselves. But perhaps the most haunting image would be looking down from your enormous height and realizing how fragile the world beneath you is. The rivers that once felt infinite are now mere streaks of silver, the ocean's shallow mirrors of light. You'd understand, maybe for the first time, how easily beauty can break. So what if humans were dinosaur-sized? We'd be powerful beyond imagination, but we'd also learn that true strength isn't about size. It's about care, balance, and understanding the delicate world that holds us. If that blew your mind, hit that subscribe button and drop a like, because next time, we're exploring something even wilder. What if the sun disappeared for 1 week?